beautiful souls, and welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. It's the Empress, aka Kelsey, and today we are doing a beautiful, timeless pick a card reading, and we are looking at messages from our shadow. So starting off here, I do want to say there may be some uncomfortable things brought up. This reading, trigger warning, okay? As we always have with the shadow work. So I do recommend that you are in a safe and comfortable space and environment coming into this reading. And I encourage you to maybe grab a notebook if you feel called to do so as well as be gentle and be kind with yourself, you guys. If something comes up in a reading that you are not ready to confront, that you are not ready to deal with, that you are not ready to face, or that is triggering you in a way that you can't handle at this time, that's okay. Okay, allow yourself to put it down and come back when you are ready, or maybe not at all, depending on your situation. Just be gentle with yourself as we go through this healing process, and as we work through our shadow work. So with all of that being said, I have some sage and some divine healing incense burning for us here to set the vibe, to set intentions for healing and for acknowledgement and forgiveness and compassion and love for ourselves, growth and expansion for ourselves. Out in front of you here, you guys, we have 4 different cards, 4 different images, 4 different crystals to choose from. I'm going to really ask you to really take a couple of deep breaths, very mindful deep breaths, and really connect to your intuition, connect to your guides, and even connect to your shadow if you're able to do so, and ask which one of these 4 piles is holding the messages that you need to hear at this time in regards to what your shadow needs to express, what your shadow needs to heal, what you need to heal. And out in front of you here we have pile number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I will have the timestamps to the beginning of each reading in the description box below, along with the links to the cards that I'm using for anybody who may feel drawn or called to any of the decks that I use here today. As well as some book recommendations and the links to the incense that I'm using, and all of that good stuff will be down there as well. So anybody who feels called to kind of check out any of that, I will have everything that I feel called to put in the description box below. With all of that being said, beautiful soul family, go ahead and pause the video if you still need a moment, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to group number 1. Hello, my beautiful group number 1. Those of you that chose card number 1 with the black obsidian, this reading is for you. And so I do feel for a lot of my group number 1s here that you guys have been going through a period of kind of self-recognition, where you've been seeing yourself in a much deeper way, maybe even seeing into kind of more of your subconscious habits and things like this as well. And it's like they've just been being shown to you, even if you're not seeking it. There's a lot of like epiphany type energy coming in here for group number 1. But here, you guys, I'm going to read the message for this out of the book, and then I'm going to pull a couple more oracle messages to get the kind of overall aspect of your shadow and message that your shadow wants to talk about, and then we'll get into your tarot. So starting off here, the card that you guys chose is Fear is a Luxury, okay? And so I do feel for a lot of you guys that maybe there's something within your life, within your reality, that you've been fearful about taking action on, or that's been holding you back. There's a strong sense of feeling very held back here, or feeling very uncomfortable, like almost like a new path has opened, but you're scared of moving down that path, so you're staying in a path that you've outgrown, okay? So let's go ahead and read this message for this card for you guys, and then we will shuffle out the rest of your cards. So this is card number 6. So the number 6 may be very significant for you guys. You may be life path number 6, as well as maybe even just allowing yourself to dive into the kind of learning aspect of the number 6, really diving into finding some information about that. That just seems significant for some of you guys here. But here, the message for this card is fear is a luxury you cannot afford. Are you consumed by your fears? Is the uncertainty of life keeping you up at night? This card reminds you that your fear is your choice. It challenges your helplessness and asks you to consider the possibility that you indulge in fear because you can afford to do so. If these statements are met with resistance or defense within you, imagine this. What would you do if you were stranded in a desert with no food and no shelter? Would you be paralyzed by fear and inaction? Would you sit in the blazing sun and resolve to die? Or would you move yourself into action, fueled by your instinct to survive? Fear is a luxury for which you pay with your time, with your well-being, with your joy. You dwell on that which scares you because you can afford to do so, and you cast it aside when you can no longer afford to indulge in it. But you don't have to be stranded in a desert to cast aside your fear. Today, stop arguing in defense of your fears. Say to yourself, I am done paying for my fear with my precious life, and begin the process of moving out of darkness into the light. Wow. So very strong message there, group number one. Really, you're being asked to face some sort of fear. Your shadow is really wanting to confront some kind of fear, and it's almost like your shadow is really, it's almost like really kind of pronouncing, really kind of hyper-focusing on this fear at this time. So some of you guys may not be able to think about anything else. You may be really struggling with being very present and these kinds of things at this point in time in your life, at the time that you're watching this video as well. Like, you may really be struggling in your everyday tasks, in your work, in your daily life, really struggling to be present in it, because it's like your mind and your shadow keeps taking you to this thing that absolutely terrifies you, but you're being asked to confront this fear, whatever it is. Because that is going to be different for everybody, as this is a general reading. So let's pull a couple more cards here and go a little deeper into this aspect of the shadow and the message of the shadow for group number one, please. We have Parasite. So group number one, I feel like a lot of you guys, this fear is kind of like this parasite for you right now. This fear is sucking the life out of you. This fear is kind of like, almost like hitchhiking its way into your reality. And again, it's like this energy of this is not going to go away until you confront it, until you acknowledge that it's there, until you treat this. Whatever this is for you, and it's going to be different for everybody. Again, group number one, I do feel for a lot of you guys, this could definitely have to do with love and relationships. Maybe you are in a very comfortable path within your relationships, regardless of whether it's romantic or not. Apply it where it resonates. But there's like this calling here for group number one. There's this calling to do something in a different way, this calling to drastically maybe leave a relationship or leave a job, and it's like whatever this is, whatever this calling is really just eating at you, because you're very fearful of switching paths. You're very fearful of maybe the failure, or maybe you're so a lot of my group number ones, maybe you've had a lot of times periods in your life where you felt like you've acted very impulsively and things didn't turn out for you. I feel like this is a part of like your soul lessons here in this lifetime, as you are meant to go through a lot of changes within your life. You are meant to experience new things. You're meant to go through major life changes, like really drastically change your life at multiple different periods within your life. And I feel like you guys are at a point where you've drastically changed your life more than once now, and you've really dealt with the repercussions and the consequences of your actions, and now it's causing you to hesitate on making these changes again within your life, even though there's like this part of you inside that knows that this is where you're supposed to be going, or this is what you're supposed to be doing, or this is how you're supposed to take action. You're fearful of it because you're scared that the same things that you had to deal with last time will happen again. I feel for a lot of my group number ones that when you made these drastic life decisions previously, whether it was to leave a partner, to leave a job, to leave an environment, Some of you guys may have struggled with like addictions, or you may be struggling with that right now. But there's like this essence of, when I did this big thing before, because I knew that that's what my heart needed me to do, I had to deal with all of these repercussions. Maybe you went into a very deep depression. Maybe that's when you were kind of pushed into some addictions or codependencies in some way, shape, or form. And it's like you're fearful of falling back down into that kind of darkness or that depression again, group number one. But what I'm seeing here and what your shadow is really trying to convey is, if you don't allow yourself to follow your heart right now, I feel like you guys maybe don't even realize it. Some of you may, but not all of you. I feel like due to the resistance to this new path that is calling you, it's like pushing you down into depression right now. A lot of you guys may be feeling very lethargic, dealing with insomnia, dealing with not wanting to get out of bed, not having motivation to do the tasks that you have, because again, there's something here that's like all consuming. It's consuming your heart, it's consuming your mind, calling you to whatever this is, calling you to confront this, calling you to make the changes, and you're refusing out of fear. So let's pull another card here. Group number one. Success. So it's almost like Spirit's really wanting you to know that you are going to come out on top. There may be there's always consequences to our actions. There may be consequences that maybe you're not, super thrilled about, or that you don't want to deal with. But that's kind of a part of life, and you choosing not to take action, or kind of allowing your fear to keep you stagnant, is really going to create far more consequences than you would have to deal with by taking action. I feel like whatever this is for group number one, a lot of you guys have like this fear of hurting somebody else. So this may be dealing with leaving some sort of relationship or some sort of job that's going to impact other people by making them have to work more, or there's like this sense of guilt, whatever it is for you. There's this sense of guilt because you don't want other people to look at you in a negative sight, or because you don't want people to have to work harder because you're no longer pulling your weight, or because you don't want to break somebody else's heart, or however this is coming through here. There's this sense of guilt that is really kind of being harbored within you, that's also kind of fueling this fear of change. I feel like group number one, you guys are really being asked to kind of surrender to some sort of tower moment. And trust that everything will work out the way that it's meant to, even though it's going to be very difficult to take those initial actions. I also feel for a lot of you guys that if you can allow yourself to move down this path that's calling you, if you can allow yourself to make that change and to change directions, you're going to like successfully clear some sort of karmic debt or like soul contract that you've been living out in this lifetime. So a major clearing of some heavy energies within your soul, within your heart, through this process. So this does feel like a very major kind of turning point within your life, group number one. And there's a need to kind of work with your shadow at this time, instead of either allowing it to consume you or fighting against it completely. There's a need for balance here. A need for balance here, group number one. Balancing your kind of, it's almost like your fear and your action, like really, allow your fear to be present and acknowledge that it's there, accept that it's there, but also acknowledge that just because it's there doesn't mean you can't or shouldn't take the actions that are scaring you. And that's kind of a process that's learned through working with the shadow. Our shadow presents to us, you know, our dangers. Our shadow presents to us our fears and our insecurities and our guilt and our shame and all of these things. But that doesn't, our shadow isn't telling us not to take action. Our shadow isn't telling us that we can't do these things or that we're going to fail. Okay, so there's like really this need to find this balance between like your shadow and your higher self, almost, where you allow your shadow to be there, but allow yourself to trust moving forward as well. So there's something here, group number one, about allowing yourself to bring your shadow with you instead of maybe looking at it like it's a parasite or like it's sucking the life out of you. The goal isn't to separate from our shadow, group number one. The goal is to learn how to interact with our shadow in a way that helps us move forward, in a way where it's more of our ally, in a way where it allows us to acknowledge the light and the dark, right? So our next card here is effort. So like spirit and our shadows are acknowledging, group number one, that this is going to take a tremendous amount of effort for you to make these moves. There is an acknowledgement that this is not an easy kind of transition for you. And you shouldn't treat yourself negatively or poorly because you feel like you should be able to do this. There is a need to really let go of like this idea of what you should or shouldn't do, what you should or shouldn't be able to do, or what other people tell you you should or shouldn't do. Should is a very kind of toxic energy, group number one. It's a very kind of consuming energy that makes us feel negatively about ourselves if we don't live up to whatever that is. So there's a need to really let go of like any perceptions or expectations of where we should be, what we should be doing, how we should be doing it, especially from other people. So some of my group number ones here, you may be dealing with like this energy of feeling very stuck or trapped or stagnant in the path that you're in because you know that your heart is calling you somewhere else, but you're staying in the path that you're in because there's all of these, you feel like there's all of these expectations from other people because what other people see of your life, and they feel like you should be happy or you should, you know, want to stay in this life. There's something here where it's like other people are looking at you, other people are seeing the life that you're currently living, and they don't understand why you're unhappy or why you feel called to move in a different direction or why you want to leave or how you've outgrown this situation or however this is coming through for you. And it's causing you to feel like you have to stay where you are because somebody else would be happy here, and maybe you feel like you're taking your life for granted if you aren't happy. So it's like this vicious cycle of kind of beating yourself up because you feel like you should be happy because somebody else would be if they were in your shoes. You feel like you have to stay where you are because other people maybe only see, you know, one aspect of your life, and they come in and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so jealous of your life, or I wish I could be you, or I wish I could have your relationship, or I wish I could, you know, whatever it is, have your job, have your lifestyle, have your whatever it is. And it causes like this sense of guilt that you carry around with you because whatever this is for you, group number one, I feel like it's something that you no longer want or that you've outgrown or that you crave like change here. And there's really like your shadow's encouraging you to really allow yourself to surrender to these changes, to make these changes. So you guys may also really struggle with like this paralyzation from your fear. Your fear may paralyze you in certain situations. You may have a hard time, you know, speaking your truth or speaking up for what you truly want or what you truly desire. You may find that when there are decisions that have to be made, some of you guys may freeze in those situations as well and really not be able to kind of choose one side of the fence. So let's go ahead here and pull some tarot, group number one, and go a little deeper into what your shadow wants you to know, into what your shadow wants to talk to you about, group number one. I feel like group number one, a lot of you guys are like in this position where maybe it's like, it's almost like a tipping point where it's taking more effort now, more energy now to stay where you are than it would be to make this change. And if you haven't got to that point yet, you very well may get to that point very soon if you don't allow yourself to just make these changes. It's like every day it's going to get harder and harder to stay still, to stay stagnant, to stay in this fear, okay? So I don't really feel like whatever this path is something that's going to go away. I feel like it's just a matter of how long you delay it, or how long it gets put off, or how long you resist this change. That's going to determine like how this change occurs, and like the repercussions and the ripple effect of this change are going to be directly impacted by the way this change happens. So our first tarot card here, we have the Ace of Swords, yeah. So there's something that's very, very strong here for group number one, saying like, you know your truth. You know the truth of the situation. You know your truth. You know what you believe in. You know what you desire. And there's really a need to trust that instead of allowing yourself to doubt who you are or what you want or what you believe in because of what other people see your life to be. Okay. A lot of you guys have been asking maybe for clarity, and your shadow's coming through here saying you already have clarity. You're just resisting it. Okay. We also have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, I really feel you guys kind of fighting against this, whatever this is, like really struggling to stay, really struggling, like really fighting against whatever this is that's trying to kind of embrace you or calling you to embrace it. Very maybe defensive about it, feeling very kind of worn out and exhausted due to this situation, feeling like you've already fought the war that you haven't allowed yourself to even step into yet, group number one. There's like this fear of this battle, of this war that may or may not even actually happen. But it's like you already feel like you've come out of the other side of this battle without even taking a step into it, because you're like creating these stories within your mind of how it's going to go, and like convincing yourself that staying is going to be better, and really that's very fear driven for you, the creation of these stories and the storyline that you're telling yourself on how this is going to go or what's going to happen if you do these things is really just kind of your shadow's way of trying to communicate your fear to you, but that doesn't make them true. It doesn't make these stories true, and it doesn't mean you have to actually live by them, group number one. It's just our shadow is kind of the lower vibrational self, right? Our shadow is the darker aspects of ourself. Our shadow, it's the part of ourselves that we don't look at, that we don't see. It's very kind of elusive and secretive, and it can only communicate to us through its true authentic self, through the lower vibration, through the lower denser emotions, through the lower denser thoughts, right? That doesn't mean your shadow's saying this is what you should do, or that you should allow your shadow to consume you with these lower vibrational emotions or thoughts. It means your shadow's trying to communicate something to you. And I feel like group number one, it may be very, very beneficial for you to kind of learn the language of your shadow without latching onto this sense of communication that your shadow's trying to bring forth as truth. It's only part of your truth, for one. It's only half of you, right? Interesting. So your shadow is really trying to find a form of communication to you that you can comprehend, that you can understand. But I feel like a lot of you guys here, it's like every time your shadow comes up, every time your shadow communicates to you, you may really latch on to those ideas, those thoughts, those emotions as truth, and use them to validate your fear, use them to validate why you aren't taking the steps that are in alignment with your heart. We also have the Page of Spheres. I'm really sorry if you guys can hear all the noise in the background. My neighbor has like a backhoe out right now. But with the Page of Spheres, this is telling me that it's like it's almost like you've been waiting for something to mature. You've been waiting for your financial success. You've been waiting for the growth and evolution of your physical environment in some way, shape, or form. But a lot of you guys haven't allowed yourself to actually pursue that, or allowed yourself to believe that you are worthy and deserving of those things. So that is something coming through here for some of you guys. But for like the collective of this pile here, with the Page of Spheres, it's like your shadow is saying like, I want to grow, I want to evolve, I want to mature, but you have to work with me. You have to acknowledge me. You have to allow me to be present in order for growth and expansion and evolution and awakening. And like, again, in the beginning, I said there's like this essence of like epiphanies coming through here. And I feel like a lot of this is very driven by your shadow energy right now that you guys are resistant to. It's been a very slow moving process with the shadow work for group number 1. And a big part of it is because you resisted, or maybe a lot of you guys have, even if it's like an underlying or subconscious belief system that your shadow is a negative aspect of you, or that your shadow is something that you need to separate from, or that your shadow, I feel a lot of you guys look at your shadow as kind of this parasite energy. You, even if, you know, you've tried to acknowledge it, you've tried to work with it, there's this very deep rooted kind of underlying subconscious belief system that your shadow is going to harm you, or that it's a negative thing, or that it's, you know, going to drag you down, or that it's going to suck the life out of you. And so it's caused this work with your shadow to be very, very, very slow moving. And your shadow is like desperate for evolution right now, okay? And we also have the Three of Swords. Yeah, again, it's like you've separated yourself. You've separated your shadow and your higher self. You've separated from yourself. You've detached from yourself, from your desires, from your wants. And it's almost like I really feel for group number 1, and like this path that's calling you, this new path that's like beckoning you, that you're resisting is causing you to be even more and more fragmented, or like torn in half. I really feel for you guys that you feel very, very torn. You feel very, very separated from the life that you want to live, and you're choosing to stay in this life that you don't want to live, because of certain expectations that have maybe been placed upon you, or because you're scared to, you know, show your true authentic self, or you're scared to be your true authentic self, because you're scared of letting other people down that may be relying on you, or that maybe you've, you know, been with for a long period of time, or however that comes through for you. But it's like you're breaking your own heart. You're sacrificing your own heart's happiness in order to stay in this fear. And your shadow really wants to grow and evolve out of this heartbreak, out of this constant state of detachment. So your shadow is like really almost like begging for you to embrace it right now, group number 1. Let's pull some more cards and clarify these a little bit. Why is the Ace of Swords here, group number 1? We have the Knight of Spheres coming out. So I feel like group number 1, a lot of you guys are maybe craving a sense of independence, or a sense of like needing to build something on your own. There's this sense of really needing something that is for you and for you alone. A lot of you guys may have lived your life up until this point feeling like a burden on other people, or feeling like, you know, you may have been living this life where other people have taken care of you, or other people have had to take care of you in certain circumstances, depending on your situation. It's like there's something here where you've really felt like a burden, and it's like your heart is beckoning you to this new path that's going to allow you to create stability and independence for yourself so that you no longer have to rely or depend on anybody or anything else. And I feel like that's truly what your heart is desiring here. It may be coming through as your heart wanting this other person, or your heart wanting this other environment, or this other lifestyle, or however it's coming through. The truth underlying that is that your heart's trying to beckon you towards the path that's going to allow you to create a life of stability and independence, so that you no longer have to rely on other people, so that you no longer have to feel like a burden on other people, because I feel like that really kind of consumes a lot of you guys, group number 1. Why is the 9 of Wands here? We have strength. So group number 1, a lot of you guys, like I said with this 9 of Wands, when this came out, there was like this essence of already feeling like you fought the battle, but you haven't actually gone anywhere. And a lot of this is because of the stories that you've been telling yourself, but also your shadow is coming through here saying you've already fought this battle in your head and you came out the other side. Regardless of how it turned out, even in your mind, even in the darkest aspect, in the worst case scenario, you came out the other side of this battle, group number 1. So there's a huge need for you to embrace your courage and your strength and your power and like your willpower and move into this, even if it is going to be a battle. Even if you know it's going to be a battle, it's like your shadow is like really encouraging you to step into this, because you've already lived through this battle in your thoughts, in these stories that you've created within you, and you've created the worst possible scenario. But in every single one of those scenarios, you still came out the other side, group number 1. And there's a need to really embrace that and know that just because you've created the worst case scenario doesn't mean that's what's actually going to happen. It doesn't mean that that's actually truth. But there is like this sense of encouragement within that worst case scenario that you are a survivor, group number 1. You guys are survivors, and there's a need to embrace that part of you and really confront whatever fear this is. Why is the Page of Spheres here? We have the Magician. Yeah. Your shadow really wants to create a new life with you. Your shadow really wants to help you create and manifest and build. Again, it's like your shadow really wants to evolve. Your shadow really wants to be incorporated into the things that you're creating. A lot of you guys, again, look at your shadow as a negative aspect of yourself, but without your shadow present, without yourself being able to accept and embrace your shadow, your manifestations are going to be very chaotic. And it's like your shadow wants you to know that. Your shadow wants you to know the more you push your shadow away, the more you resist it, the more you pretend like it isn't there, the more chaotic your life is going to become. And it's almost like a sense of self-sabotage here that you've been living in, or like self-sacrifice, or which we talked about with the 3 of Swords, sacrificing your own heart's desires and detaching from self in order to uphold some sort of image or expectation that other people have placed on you, or that you've placed on yourself with this idea that other people expect it from you. It's like the sense of manipulation here. That it's almost like self-imposed. It's almost like group number 1, you guys have found a way to manipulate your mind and your energy to keep yourself where you are, to convince yourself that you have to stay where you are. Why is the 3 of Swords here? Group number 1. We have the 6 of Cups. Yeah, it's time to detach from the past. It's time to stop recreating your past out of this expectation that nothing could ever go differently. It's almost like the sense of, well, I can't go into this new job because last time I started a new job, it turned out horrible. It's like that kind of energy. And I know that's not going to be how this is playing out for everybody here, but just, you know, metaphorically, there's like this essence of, I can't go into this new relationship or into this relationship with a person that is very similar to somebody else, or even somebody that's come back from the past. For some of you, I can't go into this relationship because the last time we were together, it turned out this way. Even though maybe your heart's calling you to this person, maybe this person has changed dramatically, maybe this person has another lesson that they need to express. Maybe your guys' souls have certain intertwinements that are causing you to kind of uphold certain soul contracts, whatever it is. It's like you've been holding yourself back from embarking down this path that your heart truly wants because of your past, because you hold on to your past, because you've held on to every negative thing that's ever happened to you, and you're using it as a defense mechanism. But really all it's doing is holding you back at this point in time in your life. There was a point in time in your life, group number one, where that defense mechanism was necessary, where it was survival. Now you're being asked to release it, okay? But let's go ahead and pull you one final message from your shadow, group number one. One final message, any last guidance or advice that your shadow has for you at this time. Okay, and we have don't take anything personally is one of the 4 agreements of this deck. And I will also link the book that kind of coincides with this deck, or that this deck was inspired by. It's a very quick read and I absolutely love it, but I'll link that down below as well for anybody who's interested. But here this says become immune to poison, okay? And the message here is the whole world can gossip about you, and if you don't take it personally, you are immune. Immunity to poison in the middle of hell is the gift of the 2nd agreement. Oh my gosh, you guys. So it's like your shadow is really encouraging you to let go of everything that other people expect of you. It's poison. Shoulds are poison. It's toxic. Like I said, there's a need to really allow your people's expectations, what other people see, what other people think, and allow yourself to reattach to your heart, group number one. But this is what I'm seeing for my beautiful souls that chose this pile. If you enjoyed this reading, if it resonated with you, if it brought you value, please hit that like button. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this reading. Let me know if you chose this pile. Let me know what else you guys would like to see. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, my beautiful group number 2. Those of you that chose pile number 2 with the tiger's eye here. In the 2nd card, this reading is for you, and here you guys chose choose to see no faults. And immediately with just the imagery on this card, there's something here where it's like, I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I can't hold my head above water. I feel like I should be doing better. There's something here where maybe a lot of you guys, group number 2, choose to see the best in other people, but only see the negative aspects of yourself. Or for some of you guys, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you only see like the negative things or the warnings or the red flags in other people, but maybe don't see them in yourself. There's something here where it's like there's an extreme essence to this, where it's only one or the other. And I'm not sure why that's coming through yet, but we will get into it. We're going to start off here in your reading, group number 2, by reading the message of this card, and then we will shuffle out a few more oracle messages to get the a clearer image of the aspect of the shadow and the message that the shadow wants to bring forth, and then we'll get into your tarot. So let's go ahead here, you guys, and look at the message of our card here. And this is number 25. Some of you guys may be a life path 7, or even just really resonate with this energy of always being a seeker. It's like you're always looking for something. Some of you guys may even kind of, on the flip side of that, feel like something's always missing, or like you can't quite put your finger on what it is that you want, or where you want to go, or that kind of energy. But here the message for this card, choose to see no faults. It says, you see faults in others when you see them in yourself. Do you see faults everywhere you look? Do you wish to change the world and those in it based on what you think is right? You've thought that your heart is pure, yet you've harbored within it a righteous intolerance of other people's faults. You've looked at the contrast around you and you've seen only what you despise. If they behaved, you've said, and with it you've made them wrong and made yourself right. And at times you've stripped them of their truth by calling them evil and so justified your own actions. This card reminds you that you cannot see faults in others without seeing yourself in them. What you condemn in others is the source of your own shame. Darkness descends upon you when you choose to see their faults. You feel unworthy and unloved when you withhold love from them. Today, set aside the destructive habit of finding faults with the world, choose to see no faults, and with this choice, allow yourself relief. Let your acceptance of others allow you to accept yourself. Witness how compassion lights up your own path to freedom. You cannot know your own perfection until you know the perfection of others. You cannot see your own power when you strip others of theirs. So group number 2, a lot of you guys may resonate with having like a need for control. Regardless of how this comes through, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're like trying to control the actions of other people or that you're controlling in relationships. Some of you very well may be, but it's like you guys always have to have this sense of control, and you don't allow yourself to be in positions where that control may be at risk or may be taken in some way, shape, or form. That is something that's coming through here, as well as like this need for self-acceptance. A lot of my group number 2s may really struggle with acceptance of self, with your body image, with even seeing yourself. I feel like a lot of my group number 2s are maybe the kind of people who live very separate from yourself. You're very much so, you guys may even resonate with being like extroverted, or you may present yourself as being very extroverted. You're very easily able to connect to and see other people, but you refuse to allow other people to see you. And a big part of that is because you refuse to see you. Not so much that you just refuse to see your faults, but you refuse to see yourself as a whole, in general. A lot of you guys may feel like your thoughts, your feelings, your actions don't actually matter to your life. There's something here where it's like you guys really have this very deep-rooted subconscious belief that you don't matter. And this may come from childhood trauma. This may come from past relationships that were abusive or toxic or narcissistic. But there's definitely something here where there's a strong sense of like, my life doesn't matter. The things that I do don't actually matter. It only matters what other people do because I'm less significant. So group number 2, it's like your shadow's coming through here saying, I need to be seen. I need to be seen. Don't refuse yourself, because maybe a lot of you guys are subconsciously scared of what you might see. Maybe you just feel like you don't... There's just this strong feeling here for group number 2 where it's like you don't really believe that you could heal. You don't believe that you deserve healing, or you don't believe that you could ever kind of rise above the things that you've experienced or the traumas that you've endured. Let's pull some more cards and go a little deeper into this group number 2 and see what your shadow wants to bring forth today for group number 2. That's perfect. Blinded to pain. And because you guys may really resonate with living in a constant state of pain, a constant state of heartbreak, a constant state of only kind of identifying or resonating with your traumas or with the negative things that you've experienced. And because of that, you've created this protection system where you refuse to see yourself, because all you see when you look at yourself is pain, trauma, heartbreak, and insignificance. So you guys also have this tiger's eye. That was the stone on your card here. And this is very much so connected to like solar plexus energy. And I feel for a lot of you guys that maybe you really need to tune into that energy, and you need to find the confidence and the self-esteem and boundaries and like willpower and personal strength and working with your ego. And those kinds of energies I think would really, really benefit you guys as you move through this kind of shadow work. Let's pull another card here, group number 2. As well as for some of you guys, without even realizing it, you may be kind of blowing off other people's pain, or the fact that you've hurt other people. And I don't feel like it's intentional, but what I feel like is that because you've endured so much pain within your life, group number 2, which I really feel that very strongly, and if you don't resonate with that, this probably isn't your pile. But there's something here where it's like group number 2 has experienced so much pain or so much trauma or such a significant kind of life-changing experience that when you see either the pain that you've caused or the pain that's been inflicted on other people, you look at it as lesser than what you've experienced, so that it's not that bad. And I feel for you guys that may be more of a defense mechanism, to kind of just blow that off. But for it really impacts, I feel like, the people around you, the people closest to you. Maybe people don't know how to open up or connect to you in the way that you feel like you want somebody to connect to you. And I feel like a big driving factor of that, group number 2, is the way that you kind of present yourself in this way that you refuse to see the pain in other people. Really, you refuse to see the pain in other people because you've experienced worse. So it's not because you've experienced worse, but because you have experienced worse, it causes you like to subconsciously just be like, well, it's not that bad. You know, I've had worse kind of energy here that like is very subconscious, and it makes other people feel, you know, like you don't care, essentially. Interesting. Let's pull another card here, group number 2. So if you found that you're having a hard time connecting to other people, or having a hard time finding like somebody who truly understands you, I feel a lot of you guys really feel very misunderstood. You feel very, very misunderstood, very almost neglected even. So that may be something that you guys really experienced, was like an essence of neglect. And because you've experienced that at such a high degree, or it impacted you at such a high degree, you still kind of maybe expect that neglect from other people. And because you're expecting it, you're treating other people or yourself as though it's already happening, and almost kind of creating that pain to reinstill itself. I dropped my cards, just a second. And I just want to say, you guys, group number 2, I never mean that these things that we do are on purpose, or that you're intentionally like causing harm to yourself or others. That is never the case. But with the shadow work, you know, a lot of the times the parts of ourselves that we don't see, or that we refuse to see, are reflected outside of us. And so if we're blinded to our own pain, and we choose to refuse to see the pain that we are harboring and how it is impacting us and affecting affecting our actions, then it's reflected outside of us. And a lot of times we don't see that either, because we refuse to see that it's within ourselves. So I do feel for group number 2 that there's like really, your shadow is really wanting you to pay attention to the way maybe you're impacting other people, or maybe you've had a lot of friends or a lot of people in your life tell you that they feel like you don't care, or that they feel like they can't go to you when they have a problem, or that they feel like, you know, you make them feel less significant in some way, shape, or form. And I strongly believe, group number 2, that this is just a reflection of your own shadow. So your shadow is definitely being reflected to you through people around you right now, the closest people to you right now. Our next card here, we have Fragment. Wow, you guys. Yeah, there's like a part of you that you're completely refusing right now. And I feel your shadow, group number 2. Like, Looking at this card here, this choose to see no faults, what I'm really seeing is like, it's almost like coming through as like a Titanic metaphor, where you can see like the tip of the iceberg coming out of the water. You can see her head above the water, but you can't see everything that's underneath of it, or how massive this this pain is, and how much of you that it's actually consuming underneath, underneath like your ego, really. So you guys are very fragmented. You're very separate from self, very separate from other people. Again, you guys may really, really feel like other people just don't understand you, or like really have a hard time connecting to other people on a deeper level, which I feel is something that my group number 2 really craves, is like deeper connection. But due to the fact that you are very, very much so only moving from your pain, that's a big part of the reason why you can't connect on a deeper level, because you're refusing to see your pain. So you're refusing to see how you're connecting to other people. Some of my group number 2s here you may really resonate with, or need to kind of explore your relationships and connections, platonic, romantic, whatever. And how you're connecting. Are you trauma bonding, group number 2? Is that something that you've experienced within your reality? Is that something that tends to happen, is that you bond over the negative experiences that you've encountered, and because of that, it's like you expect other people to know how you feel, or know what you think, or know who you are internally, but then they don't, and then that causes you to kind of push them away, because you were like, I thought we were on the same page here. That's something that's coming through here as well. So our next card, look, is support. Yeah, I really feel like a lot of my group number 2s are craving support. You're craving that more intimate, deeper, trusting kind of connection with somebody. And it's almost like your shadow's coming through here saying, if you want that support, you can give it to yourself. You don't need somebody else to hold you up. You need to hold you up. You need to see yourself in all of your beauty, group number 2, in all of your beauty. I do feel like your spirit guides are trying to send you a support system, though. A person, an opportunity to see yourself in a different way. Maybe this is therapy, maybe this is counseling, maybe this is a friend, maybe this is just some sort of message that really kind of makes you see yourself, or something that you've been doing in a different light, that creates some sort of realization for you. But your shadow is also supporting you at this time. Group number 2, your shadow is supporting you. And due to the fact that you kind of refuse your shadow, you refuse your pain, you refuse your darkness, you refuse your kind of denser, lower vibrational energies, you're refusing to see how the parts of yourself that maybe you hate so much are actually a big part of what has kept you going. I hope that makes sense for you. Let's pull some tarot, group number 2. We have the 9 of Spheres coming out here. So group number 2, a lot of you guys experienced something within your childhood. I feel that was very difficult or traumatizing. You experienced a lot of pain. Regardless of what caused the pain, you experienced a lot of pain within your childhood. And it's like now your inner child is really wanting to come out, but you're refusing to let it, out of this fear that the pain is going to either resurface or going to happen again, or that it's going to put you in harm's way in some way, shape, or form. There's a need to really allow yourself to have fun right now. Allow yourself to connect to people in a new way, in a more lighthearted, fun, loving way, instead of connecting to people through their pain or through their trauma. I don't know why that's coming through here so strongly, or if that's for everybody here, or maybe just 1 or 2 people, but that is a very strong message here. There's really a need to have fun, to play, to allow yourself to let go a little bit. And also allow yourself to connect to people through laughter and joy and happiness and jokes and just playful energy. There's something here about really needing playful energy within your life. And for those of you that are like, I don't have any way to do that, or I don't feel like I can do that, you know, maybe it's as simple as watching a movie that creates that emotion within you, or, you know, however you have to do that. Just allow yourself to do that. Allow yourself to experience a different state of being, okay? We also have here the Three of Swords. Yeah, you guys really hold on to a lot of heartache. You've been holding on to a lot of heartache, a lot of pain that you're like, I feel like group number 2, you don't allow yourself to process the pain that you've experienced. You don't allow yourself to acknowledge that it's there, because for some of you it may even come off maybe to like other people as kind of like a pride or an ego issue. Like people may say things about that to you. People may even call you narcissistic. That may be something that you guys have experienced. I don't feel like you are. I feel like you're very blinded to your own pain out of a fear of having to feel and endure and process those emotions. But it comes off to other people as a pride or an ego issue, really, or like a disconnected kind of maybe even selfish kind of energy here. So there's, your shadow is really wanting you to acknowledge the pain that you've endured and allow yourself to process it, allow yourself to release it, allow yourself to make room for something other than your pain, group number 2. And we also have the Nine of Swords, yeah. I feel like you guys have gotten so comfortable with the state of being, so comfortable with your pain, that it almost scares you to even think about living life without it. A lot of you guys may struggle from nightmares, fear of certain types of people, fear of being alone as well. I feel like you guys may really struggle with allowing yourself to sit alone with yourself, because you can only be alone with yourself for so long before you start seeing the parts of yourself that you've been refusing or separating from. And there's a need, like your shadow wants you to know that that's why you're constantly driven to keep moving. That's why you're constantly driven to seek out other people or events or situations or work or whatever it is that you drown yourself in, group number, yeah, see, whatever it is that you drown yourself in, group number 2, subconsciously you're doing this to avoid yourself, to avoid hearing those things or feeling those things, experiencing that in this way. So it's like there's a huge blockage here, group number 2, to self, to allowing yourself to process, to feel, to express the things that you've experienced. You've been holding on to all of this pain for so long, group number 2. Your shadow saying like it's time to let go. It's time to allow these to come to the surface, group number 2. It's time to acknowledge everything that you've been harboring within you. And we have the Knight of Spheres coming out here. So group number 2, a lot of you guys may really resonate with like almost like craving loyalty or really needing like a sense of loyalty or devotion. And that may be something that you feel like you've never been able to find, or like people always betray you, people always abandon you, people always leave you behind. And your shadow's coming through here saying you will be able to see the loyalty and the devotion in other people once you can commit to yourself. So group number 2, a lot of you guys may really struggle with some commitment issues as well that stem from some of the pain that you've been harboring that you haven't allowed yourself to acknowledge. It stems from abandonment issues, from betrayal issues, trust issues, are all present here within your shadow that you haven't allowed yourself to see, to process, to feel, to work through. And because of that, it's projected into the relationships around you, group number 2. It's projected as though this person, you already believe this person's going to leave you behind, so you act as though they already have until they actually do. And then you're like, see, I knew it. But if you can work through these things within you, and you can trust other people, and you can move in a new way and connect in a new way to where you aren't just waiting or expecting this person to do something and treating them as though they've already done it, if you can treat them as though they are loyal, as though they're not going to leave you behind, you know, there's really a need for you to be able to see how that's going to make all the difference within your connections, group number 2. People can only handle being accused of things they haven't done, of being accused of being untrustworthy, of being accused of not loving you so long before they just allow you to believe that. People aren't going to fight with your pain for you if you're not going to fight your pain yourself, group number 2. So let's pull some more cards here. See, why is the 9 of Spheres here? Group number 2, please. We have the 9 of Wands. Yeah, I feel like you guys have been fighting for a long time. You guys have been fighting. It's almost like you guys refuse to allow yourself to experience the happy times or the fun things or enjoy life, because if you allow yourself to open up to happiness or to joy or to playfulness or to fun, then there's a possibility that the pain can come in, or that something bad can happen and cause like more pain. It's almost like you guys have been living in this way where you've been just like tiptoeing around yourself, like waiting for yourself to break. It's like you're waiting for yourself to explode. You're waiting for yourself to crack. Yeah, I really feel for group number 2. You guys have been living in the sense of like tiptoeing around yourself. Always feel like you're walking on eggshells, trying not to rock the boat within, because it's like you guys know that your cup is full, and any little thing that might go wrong or that might make you feel something can cause like this overflow. And it's like you guys are constantly trying to avoid this overflow, and therefore like constantly avoiding self, okay? Why is the 3 of Swords here? We have the Sun. Yeah, so group number 2, you guys really, it's almost like you've attached happiness to heartbreak. You've convinced yourself subconsciously that you cannot be happy because eventually something's going to go wrong. So what's the point in even trying to be happy? I'm just going to live in this pain and this trauma and the ending of everything, so I don't have to deal with wishing that I still had this, or so I don't have to deal with the heartbreak, so I don't have to deal with the pain of losing other people or the pain of losing something that I care about. I just won't partake in those energies so that I don't have to deal with it when it's over. Kind of mindset here that your shadow is trying to bring to the surface for you. Why is the 9 of Swords here? The 6 of Wands. Yeah, see, you guys, it's almost like you guys are scared of coming out on top. You guys are scared of coming out of this conflict, almost like subconsciously, because you don't know how to live in this energy of victory. You don't know how to live in this energy of ease, of success. A lot of you guys have like a kind of like a poverty mindset. Be like, if I don't expect anything more than this, or if I don't want anything more than this and I don't get it, then it's not going to hurt me. If I want more than what I have, if I feel like I need or I deserve more than what I have and I don't get it, that's going to cause me more emotional pain. So I'm just not going to want anything else so that I can be content. There is a sense of like really keeping yourself at a very low kind of energy, a very kind of low mindset of like, I don't need anything, I don't want anything, because if I want something and I get excited about it and I get let down, that's going to be worse than me just staying where I am right now. If I don't actually have to go through the process of trying to get something and then not getting it, then I'm not going to have to feel that pain. So really your shadow's saying like there's really a need to come out of this mindset of almost complacent energy here. It's almost like group number 2, you guys are very complacent. Like you just stay where you are because if you want anything, if you desire anything, if you love anything or anybody, then that opens you up to feel pain, and you guys are not about that life. Why is the Knight of Spheres here? 4 of Spheres. Yeah, you guys are holding on to the bare minimum to get by. It's like, again, it's like you're holding on to this one floaty to keep your head above water, convincing yourself that this is fine, that I don't need anything else, even though you're completely exhausted, because that way you don't have to deal with disappointment or pain or letdown or burnout or exhaustion or whatever it is. You're like, if I just hold on to this one thing that's keeping me afloat, then I don't have to work for or want anything else, because I'm never going to actually achieve those things anyways. And if I work for them for such a long period of time and don't get it, then that's going to hurt worse than if I just stayed where I was to begin with. It's that mindset that your shadow's wanting to really address, and how you're separating from yourself, separating from your happiness, from your joy, from love, from connecting to life and to people, out of this fear that you're going to feel things. So you guys may have really lived in a very numb state for a long time, and that could have been kind of caused by certain traumas or experiences that you've had, but it's like your shadow's really wanting to come out, wanting this numbness to be released, group number 2. So let's go ahead here and pull you one final message from your shadow. Any last guidance, advice, or actions you should be taking at this time for group number 2, please. Okay, so here we have don't take anything personally as the agreement. And this deck is inspired by a book called The Four Agreements, and I will link that in the description for anybody who's interested. It's a very quick read, and it's very, very good. I absolutely love it. But here this card says, love and respect yourself, group number 2. Love and respect yourself, okay? And the message on this card is, you are never responsible for the actions of others, but you are responsible for you. If someone is not treating you with love and respect, it is a gift if they want to walk away from you. You may hurt for a while, but your heart will eventually heal. Allow yourself to heal, group number 2. Don't just sit in this heartbreak out of fear of experiencing heartbreak again, because either way, if you just sit in this heartbreak, you're still experiencing heartbreak every single day of your life, instead of allowing yourself to come out of that. If it happens again, it happens again. You've been there before. You know you can overcome it. You can overcome it, group number 2. You can. Don't live your life in the emotion that you're scared of out of fear of feeling that emotion again, okay? But this is what I'm seeing for my beautiful group number 2. If you enjoyed this reading, if it resonated with you, if it brought you value, please hit that like button. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this. Let me know if you chose this pile and what other readings you guys would like to see. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Hello, my beautiful group number 3. Those of you that chose card number 3 with the honey calcite here, this reading is for you. We are looking at messages from your shadow. So starting off here, we are going to look at the message out of the book for this card here, and then we'll shuffle out some more cards to get the kind of aspect and message that your shadow wants to talk about, and then we'll get into your tarot. So with all of that being said here, the card that you guys chose is You Create Your Pain. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this message for you guys, and this is card number 13. So the number 13 or the number 4 may be very significant for you guys at this time, or coming through as a sign or a synchronicity. Some of you guys may be like a life path 4. But here this message says, you create your pain. How liberating the moment you realize it is your option of yourself and not the sins of others that is responsible for your suffering. What do you gain from making others responsible for your pain? This card reminds you that the blame you've placed on others is rooted in the fact that you are seeing yourself as small. You've forgotten your own perfection. In your forgetfulness, you've decided that you're broken and weak. Then you've made others responsible for this decision by giving them power over your emotions. Today, remember that your pain is created by no one other than you. Take ownership of your suffering and release others from your blame. Give up the need to be right and stop defending the limitations you have placed on yourself. You are holding the blade that cuts you, and by seeing this truth, you can choose to set it aside. It is only when you are willing to take responsibility for your pain that you can reclaim your power. Your suffering is not a sign of your weakness. It is evidence of how powerful you are. If you can create such agony without your conscious intent, imagine the joy you can foster with your conscious choice. This is how you liberate yourself from the opinions of others and take back your life. Wow, so group number 3, very powerful message to start with. You're being asked to take back your power. You're being asked to recognize where you can make changes and what you can do in order to better your life and your situation, instead of maybe waiting around for other people or expecting other people to move in a certain way that's going to benefit you. Okay, so let's go ahead here and pull a few more cards, group number 3, and see what the shadow wants to bring forth for you today. The aspect of the shadow, the message of the shadow for group number 3, please. We have perchance to dream. So there is like a very strong essence here, group number 3, that anything is possible. You just have to believe that anything is possible, okay? Your shadow's coming through here saying the only reason why you haven't accomplished your dreams is because you haven't allowed yourself to dream. You haven't allowed yourself to desire, to want, to move towards certain things out of this kind of essence of allowing other people to be in control of your life, allowing other people to tell you what you are or are not capable of, allowing other people to tell you how you should or should not live your life. Whether, you know, and this isn't conscious, it never is, group number 3, it never is. But I feel like, you know, that message for our first card here plays a big role in what you're currently going through at this time, group number 3, in regards to kind of blaming others as to why you're in pain or why you haven't accomplished certain things, or like there's this essence of like excuses here. And I don't say that to be mean or negative or like anything like that or make you feel bad, but there is this essence of like always having some sort of excuse or validation as to why you haven't done certain things, and all of these excuses or this validation is always because of something outside of you. So there's this big message from your shadow here that you are giving way too much power to anything other than yourself, whether it's a person, whether it's an idea, whether it's an opinion or an expectation, whatever it is for you. This is a general reading, but there is a huge message here from your shadow that you give way too much power to other people, situations, events, way too much power. It has way too much control over you. You guys may have really experienced a lot of kind of controlling or narcissistic energies, whether this be in your childhood or in previous relationships. There is definitely an essence of kind of being beat to submission, physically or metaphorically. That's going to be different for everybody. There's something here where it's like you were forced into submission, and now you're living your life from that submissive energy still. And your shadow wants you to recognize that it's holding you back, that it's keeping you stagnant, that it's validating your powerlessness. Okay? We also have here the fledging. This is a new beginning. It's time to start fresh. It's time to start over. It's time to start new. This is initiation, activation. Your shadow is really activating you in ways that may be really making you uncomfortable, but for a lot of my group number 3s, I feel like a lot of you guys, this is coming through as like inspiration or like desire, even for some of you guys, like this desire for a better life or some sort of new dream or passion or something being instated into you in order to really activate you into calling your power back. So whatever this is that's being activated and initiated for you, group number 3, this is happening because this passion, it may even be purpose, like very purpose-driven energy here, is going to be stronger than the power that other people have over you. This is going to allow you to create boundaries. This is going to allow you to call yourself back, to call your power back to you. This is going to make something in your life, this passion, this desire, this purpose in your life, more important than the opinions of other people. So whatever is being activated for you right now, group number 3, is going to be very, very significant in regards to like you really taking control over your own life right now. Because of this passion, this purpose, this energy that's coming in, being activated for you, it's going to really light you up. It's going to really give you motivation and this power that you need to live your own life. It's going to make it so that you clear these obstacles, these blockages. It's going to make it so that you can move past this energy of validating your stagnancy because of other people. Like there's something here that's really going to like burn away this idea that other people can hold you back. Wow. So very powerful energy coming in here from your shadow. Very powerful energy. Your shadow coming through saying, remember who the F you are, group number 3. And don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't be that person or that you can't be that person or that you're never going to make it. So let's go ahead here and pull another card. Group number 3. We have weight. So group number 3, what I'm really seeing with this is that there is a need to come out of this reaction mode. I feel for a lot of you guys that maybe somebody says or does something and it's just you're constantly in this state of reaction. And you're being asked to acknowledge that. Your shadow's asking you to acknowledge the way that things make you react and the fact that maybe things that people say or do or expect or their opinions or whatever it is that come through for you that make you react in the way that they are saying you should. There's a need to acknowledge this. There's a need to acknowledge where you're reacting, where you're just kind of going through the motions, where you're just kind of trying to live up to the expectations of other people or portray this image that lives up to the expectations of other people. You're being asked to pinpoint where that is and then to wait. Don't react, to allow yourself to hold back that reaction And this is, you know, really the beginning stages of learning how to pull your power back to you. Wow. So big energy here from your shadow is it's time to pull your power back, and it's time to allow this passion to ignite, this desire, this purpose, this drive to ignite here for you as well. Some of you guys may already know what this is, but maybe you've been resistant to it a little bit. There's a need to dive into it because it's really going to give you the power, the strength, the motivation, the inspiration that you need to continue pulling your power back from other people or situations or whatever it is that's holding power over you. This is going to become much more important in your life than the opinion or expectations of others. Wow. Okay. So let's go ahead and get some tarot for you, group number 3. And go a little deeper into this message from your shadow and what your shadow wants you to know, what your shadow wants to say. Group number 3. So we have the Magician and the Ace of Spheres coming out here initially. Yeah, so there's definitely something here for group number 3 where you guys have been, like, you're being asked to create a whole new reality. You're being asked to go down this whole new path, this whole new, a lot of you guys, this may be a new job, or it may be like a new business that you decide you want to open, or a new career path that you want to go down, that's this new purpose, this new passion that's being activated. And it's almost like your shadow here is saying, like, the Magician is all about being in control of all parts of yourself, right? The Magician in reverse is about either being out of balance or even manipulation. And I feel like group number 3, a big part of this message from your shadow is really desiring for you to come out of the kind of manipulation of other people and coming into this ability to balance yourself. There's also, with the Ace of Spheres here, this message saying that your environment is directly impacting you. So some of you guys may be in a lifestyle or an environment or a current situation that kind of exposes you to manipulation or expectations or opinions, or like causes you to have to live up to some sort of image. Some of you guys may have been raised in like a religious kind of sense that doesn't match what you actually believe in now, and there's something here where it's like you feel like you have to hold yourself back, or you have to hide yourself, or that you have to live in this constant state of pain and suffering in order to make somebody else happy. And your shadow's coming through here saying, no, you don't. Find something, or some of you guys already know what this is, but find something, find a passion, find a purpose that allows you to separate from what other people think of you. Or, you know, do something. Like, there's something here for group number 3 where you're being asked to go after that job that may make other people mad, to start that business, to, you know, whatever it is for you, to go take this new job that your family or your parents or your friends are telling you is going to be a waste of time, or that you're not going to make enough money at, or whatever it is. There's a need to do it. You guys are in a definite activation process right now, and being activated into pulling your power back. We then have the 5 of Spheres, yep, and the Ace of Cups. Wow. So a lot of initiatory energy here for group number 3 for sure, but the 5 of Spheres, this is talking about this fear of being left behind, this fear of people abandoning you. Or see, look, these guys walking away. There's something here of like there's this fear of being left behind if people don't like what you're doing, or if people don't agree with you, or whatever it is. There's this fear of betrayal, this fear of really just this fear of being left behind that I feel is a very big motivator for you, group number 3, in what causes you to live outside of yourself, what causes you to create your own pain and to give the power to other people, is this fear of being alone, this fear of people rejecting you. And this could stem from childhood trauma, this could stem from past relationships. But it's like your shadow's coming through here saying, like, and then what? if you do something that's true to you and somebody leaves you, and then what happens? And then you continue moving forward. If people want to walk away, don't change who you are in order to get them to come back. That may be a kind of cycle or a pattern that you guys live in, is that you try to kind of go against the grain and find yourself, but then somebody that's significant to you doesn't agree with it or doesn't want you to do that thing, and it builds tension until this person wants to walk away, and then you decide to go back to this person that somebody else fell in love with that isn't actually you. Yeah, your shadow really, really wants you to acknowledge this. Your shadow really wants you to acknowledge how you create your own suffering by trying to be everything that other people want, everything but yourself. Why are you so scared of yourself? Why are you so scared of being alone? As well as if you guys have people that are trying to walk away from you, that maybe you continue to pull back into your life, that maybe you continue to be like, well, wait, just wait, please give me another chance, whatever it is. There's a need to allow them to walk away and to give yourself time and to wait. And for some of you guys, this will pass and these people will come back and be like, I just needed an adjustment period. I needed to process this change, whatever it is. And for some of you, there are going to be new people that come in that actually align with who you are, that make you feel so free and liberated from these expectations. So some of you guys, if you have people trying to leave your life right now, there's really a need to let them, because you're being aligned to people who are much more kind of aligned to your true authentic self, okay? And fighting for these people that don't align with you to stay in your life is only keeping you from the people who do. We have the Ace of Cups. Love yourself first. Love yourself more than other people. Some of you guys here, group number 3, you may kind of live in this idea that love is something that has to be given to you. And because you want that love so desperately, you kind of give the power to other people to like fill that void. Like you really want other people to stay so that they fill that void, because it's like you feel like if they leave, then they're taking your heart with them. And yes, it may hurt for a moment. It may cause you to feel, that heartbreak and that sadness. But if you can learn how to love yourself, group number 3, which sounds so cliche, I know, but if you can learn how to look yourself in the mirror every day, every morning when you get out of bed, and love yourself, and love what you see, and love who you are, and find who you are, you're no longer going to need that from other people. And that's the problem here, is the fact that you need this love or this attention from other people, but yet you refuse to give it to yourself. So whatever it is that you're seeking from somebody else, there's a need to give what you're seeking to yourself and then see how important this relationship is, group number 3. Okay, so let's pull some more cards here. We're going to get some clarification. Why is the Magician here for group number 3, please? We have the 6 of Swords. Yeah, you guys, I really feel like you guys are at like this turning point where it's like you can allow your power to stay with somebody else and continue to feel empty, or you can take your power back and maybe have to detach from somebody else. There's something here where it's like there's one or the other, and maybe you guys are having a hard time making a decision right now. But it's like whatever decision you make, like there isn't a right or wrong decision, group number 3. There isn't a right or wrong decision. Whatever decision you make is going to create movement. The problem is that you're not making a decision right now. We also have the Strength card underneath the Ace of Spheres. Yeah, so there's definitely this message here that you need to find your power in some sort of passion or purpose that's being activated for you right now. Like diving into that is really what's going to ignite your personal strength, your power, your ability to set down boundaries, your confidence, your self-esteem, and it's going to allow you to move forward. Like there's going to be a new sense of personal power instilled in you that allows you to, it's almost like to defend yourself, to stick up for yourself, to be who you are without feeling like you have to hide yourself away in order to keep other people there or in order to keep them comfortable. There is like a message here. Your shadow is saying like you need to choose yourself in order to create movement within your life. A lot of you guys have felt very stuck or stagnant, or like things aren't happening for you. And this is because the things that you are wanting to happen are maybe based on other people's life, or like you're waiting around for other people to make a certain move or to do a certain thing or to do something for you. And your shadow is coming through here very strongly saying, no, you have to make these decisions based off of you and what you can do for you and what you can do to move yourself forward, not off of what somebody else wants, not off of what somebody else can do for you, not off of what you can do for somebody else. I hope that makes sense for you. Why is the Five of Spheres here? Seven of Cups. Yeah. So you guys, I feel like, really live in this kind of illusion that if you allow yourself to be who you are, then nobody will love you. And this may stem from childhood trauma. This may stem from something that you were taught while you were younger, or some sort of relationship that was very toxic that made you believe that I'm like seeing the kind of classic abusive relationships that they show you in movies, where it's like the person that's being abused is scared to leave because they're convinced by their partner that nobody's gonna love them. You know, go ahead and try to leave, nobody's gonna love you kind of energy here that I feel like you guys have been living in. Like you guys have convinced yourself, or somebody has convinced you, that nobody else is going to show you love, that nobody's going to show you kindness, that you don't deserve that, and that you deserve the life that you have, and you deserve being powerless, that you deserve being in pain, that you deserve abuse or toxicity within your life because that's all you're worthy of. And your shadow is saying absolutely not. It's time to let go of this fear of rejection. Wow. Okay. So why is the Ace of Cups here? Group number 3. The King of Spheres. Yeah, so there's definitely something here, group number 3, where you are being asked to come into control of your environment, to come into power of your environment. For some of you, this is going to mean that you need to make somebody leave your home. For some of you, this is that you need to get your own home. That there's something here that is very significant to your ability to move forward and to your ability to take your power back. Very significant surrounding the need for your own space. A lot of you guys may live with somebody else that maybe pays the bills, or that supports you, or that provides home or shelter or whatever it is. And because of that, you feel like you aren't able to be yourself. You feel like you aren't able to call your power back because this person holds some sort of stability over you or some sort of support over you, and uses that as leverage almost, whether they realize it or not. For some of them, they definitely do. Not for all of them, though, I don't feel. And for some of you guys, you give somebody else that power by telling yourself that, you know, you aren't worthy of support, that you aren't worthy of, you know, creating a life that you love or having your own stability because this other person works, or this other person pays for you, or this other person supports you. There's definitely like this mindset here that I don't deserve anything more than what I have, and I should be grateful that this person puts up with me kind of energy here, that you're really being asked to acknowledge and to shift into personal power, and that you are worthy, that you are deserving of being yourself and being who you are and supporting yourself and loving yourself, and that you don't have to get those things from other people. Because if other people are telling you that they love you, but they're then using that love as a form of manipulation, then it isn't actually love. So let's go ahead here, group number 3, and pull yourself one final message from your shadow. Any last guidance or advice that your shadow has for you right now? Any actions you should be taking, group number 3? So we have always do your best as the agreement, and I will have the book that these cards kind of stem from listed in the description box. It's a very quick read, and it's a very powerful read, and I feel like it would really, really benefit you guys, especially in regards to recognizing how like your perception of self is really what influences how you allow other people to treat you. But here this says stay in the present moment. And the message on this card is keep your attention on today and stay in the present moment. This is the beginning of a new understanding, a new dream. You guys, it's the beginning of a new understanding and a new dream. It's the beginning of this activation of this purpose. And there's a need to focus on today and what you can do right now and not worry about how things are going to play out or what's going to happen if you do this, or, you know, there's a need to let go of that control and really stay focused on what you're doing right now and what you need right now and taking those actions, okay? But this is what I'm seeing for my beautiful group number 3. If you enjoyed this reading, if it resonated with you, if it brought you value, please hit that like button. Comment down below. Let me know if you chose this pile or any other readings that you would like to see. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so that you stay up to date when I post future videos like this. I thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Hello, my lovely group number 4. Those of you that chose card number 4 with the carnelian agate, this reading is for you. And starting off, group number 4, I do feel like this might be a bit of a heavy read, so, you know, trigger warning. If you're not in a comfortable, safe space, I recommend maybe pausing this or coming back to it later when you are in a more comfortable environment or situation. Starting off here, there is a strong sense of sexual abuse or trauma for somebody here. And maybe even be for a lot of people that chose this pile that you've experienced. You guys here chose the card Forgive the Unforgivable. And I feel for a lot of you guys, there's some sort of major trauma or abuse that you experienced that you haven't yet been able to move past or to work through. Regardless of how hard you've tried, regardless of how much you've looked into it or, you know, gone to the therapy or even rehab or whatever it is, you haven't been able to forgive. I do feel for a lot of you guys, group number 4, this is also card number 44, so the number 4 may be very significant to some of you guys. This is about rebuilding your foundation, and I feel for a lot of you guys, this is about forgiving yourself instead of feeling like you need to forgive somebody or something else. But what we're going to do here is we're going to read the message to this card out of the book, and then I will shuffle the rest of the cards out as we go. I'll pull a few more oracle messages to get the more in-depth look of the perception of the shadow and the message that the shadow wants to bring forth, and then we'll get into your tarot. So group number 4, let's go ahead and read this message out of the book for you guys. Forgive the unforgivable. You are never more powerful and more at peace than when you forgive that which you once thought was unforgivable. What do you lose by forgiving the wrongs done unto you? What do you gain by remaining a victim, powerless and hurt? Perhaps you were wronged and wrongfully so. Perhaps your outrage is justified and you have the right to be in pain. But what do you gain by giving away your power in this way? What does your martyrdom bring you aside from fear and regret? This card reminds you that it is forgiveness that sets you free. You've chained yourself to your pain by refusing to forgive. With your unforgiveness, you've snatched the blade from your abuser's hand and stabbed yourself 1,000 times where he stabbed you but once. and then you've blamed him for your madness and turned your mistake into his sin. Today, release yourself of judgment and release your abuser too. Forgiveness is not an endorsement of acts or an approval of yours. Forgiveness is letting go of guilt, both yours and theirs. It is an opening of your heart and a flowering of love. For it is in compassion that forgiveness is achieved, and it is in forgiveness that you can be whole. Yeah, so group number 4, a lot of you guys are working through some very heavy things that I feel like you're going through a cycle of releasing. But I do feel that your shadow is coming through here saying, at this point in time on your journey, there is a need to forgive yourself. And even for a lot of you guys, group number 4, you may be like, well, I don't have anything to forgive myself for. Well, then you need to look at that, because you're holding some sort of grudge against yourself because of the traumas or the abuse that was done to you. Maybe there's a subconscious belief that you don't deserve happy, fulfilling relationships, or that, you know, I can be in this toxic or abusive connection because it isn't as bad as what was done to me before. However this is playing out in your life, there's a need for you to find within you where it is you're holding this trauma, this abuse, as a form of validation as to why you're doing the things in your life now. A lot of you guys may be dealing with a lot of anger right now as well. A lot of anger coming out. And if that's the case, you know, there is absolutely no shame in seeking help in, you know, anger management or therapy or counseling or whatever it is for you that's going to help you move through those emotions. It's okay to have these emotions. You are justified in feeling like you were wronged or feeling like the victim, but your shadow's coming through here saying, like, you're not wrong, but now it's time to do something about it, okay? So let's go ahead and pull some more cards, group number 4. And take a look at the aspect of your shadow or the message of your shadow that is coming through for you today, okay? So we have, wow, yeah, the temple of my body. I really feel for a lot of my group number 4s that there is a lot of there's a lot of energy surrounding what happened to your physical body. So for a lot of you guys, you may really struggle with being vulnerable. You may really struggle with opening up with your body. You may really struggle with like public displays of affection, or with you know, intimacy, or even just people touching you in general, or hugging, or there's just this sense of being very uncomfortable with your body and with allowing your body to connect to other people, romantic, platonic, it doesn't matter. And your shadow's coming through here really wanting to help you heal that by showing you the things that you need to acknowledge or heal in order to begin kind of coming into this acceptance of body. Again, like I said in the very beginning, I feel like there are people here that experience sexual abuse or trauma. And it's caused a lot of maybe shame or difficulties with expression of intimacy for you. And I feel like this is something that you're being asked to kind of focus on and address now, and to see how that's impacting your life now in your current reality. Instead of holding on to why you are that way, how can we change it? Group number 4. So let's go ahead and get another card here. Group number 4. We have obedience. Yeah, so there is like this strong essence here of allowing other people to tell you when and how you should do things, especially in regards to like, I feel like especially in regards to romantic relationships, There's just this essence of like a lot of you guys may have experienced some abuse or trauma that was ongoing for a period of time. And it's like now in your current life, even though this abuse may not be going on still, it's like you still feel like you have to fall in line of that abuse. Like you were told what to do, when to do, how to do it. And it's like now you just automatically do these things to try to keep the people in your life currently from abusing you the way that you were abused before. So it's like you're still obedient to this trauma or to this abuse that you experienced, even though it isn't going on anymore, group number 4, and you're really being asked to break free from this. As well as for some of you guys, it's almost like you get into, maybe you get into a relationship, and even though you don't feel like you're ready to move to the next step, you do because you feel like you're expected to, or like there's this fear that the other person's going to be angry or upset or leave you or hurt you in some way, shape, or form if you don't just do what they want or what they want you to do. So you guys may really have a tendency of losing yourself in connections with other people, especially romantic connections. You may really, go deeper into relationships and connections than you even feel like you should or that you want to, out of this fear of your past reoccurring. And then we have Harvest coming out here. In group number 4, this is telling me that it's time to bring this to completion. It's time to gather all of the information from yourself, all of the things that you've learned as you've gone through your life holding on to this abuse, this trauma. It's time to recognize how it's impacted you. It's time to recognize how it's caused you to make decisions and to act and to move in order for you to be able to learn from it, in order for you to be able to gain anything from this. You have to be willing to look at how it's caused you to act and react within your reality. And there's something here where it's like your shadow's wanting you to put everything together. Your shadow's wanting you to see a bigger picture right now of how this trauma or this abuse kind of stemmed into your present day and how it causes you to live in this kind of habitual way where you need other people's approval, where you need to meet other people's expectations, where you need to be what somebody else wants of you, regardless of whether you want it or not. So it's like you guys are constantly trying to avoid pain, harm, physical harm. You're constantly trying to avoid these things and doing the things that you know are going to keep you out of harm's way. But in that, you're also expecting every person that's in front of you to be an abuser. So let's pull some tarot, group number 4, and go a little deeper into this and what your shadow wants you to know right now. Group number 4. We have the 9 of Swords coming out here. You guys may have like night terrors or nightmares, or like dreams of the abuse or the things that you've endured. Or you just may have dreams of even like the people in your life now or people you don't even know. There's just this essence of nightmares of people hurting you. And I feel like that's like your subconscious and your shadow's way of trying to show you the constant state of fear or survival mode that you're living in and the expectations that you have that everybody around you is going to bring you harm. We also have the Page of Wands. Yeah, I really feel for a lot of my group number 4 is that you guys struggle with anger, resentment, and your shadow is really wanting you to kind of embrace that and to allow yourself to kind of transmute that anger, because that anger is feeding your fear. We also have the Queen of Spheres coming out here, self-worth. Yeah, I really feel for a lot of my group number 4s that whatever it is that you've endured in your life, it's caused you to believe that you are less deserving than other people. It's caused you to put yourself on the back burner. It's caused you to live in a way where you believe that you don't deserve anything, or that you aren't worthy of love, of respect, of abundance, of fulfillment. And because of that belief system, you kind of live in a way where you keep yourself in these energies of not receiving love and abundance and prosperity. There's also something here coming in that your shadow wants you to kind of dive into your creative self. So some of you guys may be feeling very inspired, or you may be meeting somebody that really inspires you to create something, regardless of what it is, whether it's a home, a job, a painting. There's just something here where your shadow's saying that that will be very beneficial for you to dive into your creative energy and allow yourself to kind of get lost in that. It's going to really help you kind of express some things within yourself that you don't know how to express. Even like color therapy may be something that's very beneficial for you, group number 4. We also have Justice. Yeah. For some of you guys, there's something here about your abuser or about somebody in your life that did you wrong, receiving like the repercussions of their actions, whether karma's coming back to them, or maybe some of them are even like going to court, or a court case is coming into completion. There's something here about whatever this is, this cycle of abuse, coming into completion in a way where somebody is receiving like the consequences to their actions. Karma is being served. Wow. So that may be something that really helps you not to live in fear. Some of you guys, maybe this person has been out and about. Maybe they have been, you know, able to access you, and maybe that created a lot of fear within you. And now maybe they're going to either be, you know, serving time, or being like there's something that's causing them to have to separate from wherever you are. It's causing them to have to get out of whatever it is that, like, maybe it's a workplace, maybe they're being fired, maybe they're, whatever it is, it's just there's a separation so that you can find peace, so that you aren't living in this survival mode all the time. And it does feel very kind of karmically driven, like this person's karma is coming back. What goes around comes around, right? You know, and this is going to happen differently for everybody here, as this is a general reading. So apply this how it resonates for you. If you find that this reading isn't resonating with you at all, maybe try to choose a different pile, because this does feel quite specific. I do feel for a lot of my group number 4s as well that working with your sacral chakra is going to be super helpful in helping you kind of release any stagnant emotions, as well as healing your body image and your sexuality, because I do feel that a lot of those parts of yourself were impacted by whatever it was that happened. So why is the 9 of Spheres here, or the 9 of Swords, I'm sorry, we have the World. Yeah, there's a strong sense of completion of this fear. So forgiving yourself, allowing yourself to forgive the way that you've lived your life in this sense of obedience, allowing yourself to forgive, however that comes through for you, is really bringing the sense of completion of the fear that you guys have been living in. Why is the Page of Wands here? We have the 2 of Spheres. So there is a message here that your shadow is saying, like, you have to decide how you express your anger. You have the ability to decide how you express your anger. So some of you guys may be dealing with like being very explosive or having like these outbursts or not being able to contain your anger. And your shadow's coming through here saying you do have the ability to harness this energy and to put it into something that is going to be much more beneficial, to put it into creating something, to put it into transmuting this pain. But there's a need for you to become aware of it and to become aware of where it's stemming from, instead of just looking at it at surface value, like this thing made me mad, so this is why my anger's coming up. No, it's deeper than that. Like, this isn't about that. This is about something else. And there's a need for you to acknowledge that. Underneath the Queen of Spheres, we have the King of Cups. Yeah, you guys have dealt with some very narcissistic energies that have made you believe that you aren't worthy of love, of compassion, of kindness. And because of that, you've lived in a way where you've kept yourself in positions where you don't receive love, compassion, and kindness. Underneath Justice, we have the Six of Wands, victory. You guys, there's something here where it's like you guys are winning. You guys are winning a court case, or some sort of karma is being delivered to this other person or this thing that hurt you. And maybe some of you are going to be receiving some sort of uplifting, like abundance, prosperity, especially with this harvest energy here. Healing. There's definitely like this essence of you guys coming out on top, of like being rewarded, of being handed some sort of gift or opportunity or blessing, as you move into closure of this very large part of your life. Yeah, there's definitely like this essence of completion of your fear, though. That is something that your shadow really wants to bring to light for you guys, that your fear is going to be coming into completion. Whatever it is, whoever it is that is instilling fear into you or causing you to feel like you have to constantly be looking over your shoulder, or like you have to constantly fear what's going to happen next, it's coming into closure. It's coming into completion. A lot of you guys have maybe been living in this obedience to your fear. That's coming into completion. So let's go ahead here, group number 4, and pull you one final message. Any last guidance, advice, or actions you should be taking that your shadow wants to talk to you about today for group number 4, please? I do feel for you guys that there is like a transmutation happening here. Transmuting pain, transmuting anger, kind of rising up here for group number 4 that your shadow's wanting you to know. Maybe you guys have been in a dark night of the soul. Maybe you guys have been in survival mode for a very long time. It's coming to completion. You guys are receiving blessings, and whatever it is that caused you this harm is receiving their karma. Wow. So this final message here, there is a book that these cards are kind of derived from that's called The Four Agreements, and I will have that listed and linked in the description box. It is a very quick read and is very powerful for anybody who may be interested. So here we have always do your best as the agreement, and it says surrender and let go of the past, group number 4. And I feel like this is the process that you guys are going through. And the message here says, whatever life takes away from you, let it go. When you surrender and let go of the past, you allow yourself to be fully alive in the moment. Letting go of the past means that you can enjoy the dream that is happening right now, instead of fearing the nightmare that you've already experienced. Okay? So very powerful messages from your shadow here. Your shadow is trying to support you, trying to help you, trying to kind of embrace you, I feel, group number 4. But this is what I'm seeing for my beautiful souls that chose this pile. If you enjoyed this reading, if it resonated with you, if it brought you value, please please hit that like button. Comment down below. Let me know if you chose this pile. Let me know what other readings you guys would like to see. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.